So as Shrikant said, the topic for today is code versus no code website. I did create a small presentation to go through some of the concepts, what is used for code websites, what is used for no code websites, when is some of those, when are those case scenarios used, and I think because I don't want to make the presentation like highly technical and talk about different way of coding websites. I tried to also provide some examples of how it looks when we use some no-code platforms to develop websites. And I hope that we can go through this as fast as we can and maybe turn the workshop into some kind of discussion to see if someone has any questions or any experience and get to a conclusion together. What is the case scenario where we should use code and what is the case scenario we should use um, no-code websites? So, first of all, as an introduction, I think what I would like to maybe emphasize here is that no-code platforms or no-code websites is something that in my everyday communication with people feels like something that is recent, that is new, and maybe that's because like the software development evolved a lot, and these platforms now offer a huge variety of capabilities, possibilities, so you can build an entire like system, an entire application with these platforms. But I think the whole point is that this is actually a very, very, very old concept. I don't know. I just checked before the meeting, but I don't know who remembers the Dreamweaver platform, which was acquired by
Yeah,
Adobe in the 20,000, something like that. So this is actually like the some 20 years ago, the first like no code platform that allowed um, like maybe I would say even designers at that point in time without some extensive knowledge of HTML and CSS to develop specific websites. And I assume at that point in time, if someone can open the HTML and make some changes with the code, it was somewhat close to a rocket science maybe 20 years ago, but here we are today. So just quickly go through the coded websites, or maybe even it's better to talk about web applications, because if we talk about websites, it probably makes most sense to do a website with a no-code platform nowadays. But what is a what coded website or web application? It requires programming language knowledge, which means requires someone who is skilled, who is a software engineer and knows some kind of language that can use in a specific platform that applies that language to build and code this website or web application. It offers full flexibility and customization, and I'd say it's ideal for complex and unique projects where we really need to deep dive into customization and build some features that are probably hard to figure out of the box. So what are the pros and cons? Like, as I said, full customization, scalable and efficient, but on the other hand, it's like requires also a bit more budget for this kind of project because software engineering, not just software engineering, but skilled expertise is always more expensive than the other one. And usually you take the longer road and development time takes longer because you're not using a lot of things that are outside of the box. And what is a no-code website? As I said, no-code website, it's pretty much using drag and drop platforms like Webform, Wix, or Bubble. It does not require programming knowledge. The idea is that someone who has a limited or no skills in the software development at all can do this sort of website or web applications. But it says it's best for simple to medium complexity projects. And before going a bit further, I would like I know about these platforms, but I did try to see how it works, for example, in Wix, and I will just stop for a minute to show like how does that look. Let me just find the right screen. Um, where are you right now? Okay, here you are. I'm going back to the presentation. Can you see the weak screen?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. So this is, I'd say, one of the most popular platforms nowadays for building this out-of-the-box website or web applications. And I did try to see how the experience looks like. And I have to say it's pretty awesome and complete, meaning you're allowed to do the entire journey of like you starting a company to actually growing your business online via a couple of clicks, drag and drops, and a setup wizard. So just to get a sense of this, we're not going to deep dive into it. The most interesting part is the designer website, or what actually is interesting for us in this session. And this is basically similar to what you'd expect from this kind of drag and drop editor. I just chose one simple template that was for, let me just remember what was it until it loads. Come on. In the meantime, these platforms so far basically full circle experience. So not only you can design your website, but you can actually they can actually help you out of the box to host and deploy this. So it's not just something that will produce some development deliverable to you, and then you have to figure out another way to put this online, but they provide the entire experience. So this is like I think an online store template that I used, and as you see, it comes really out of the box with everything, and it looks like a Word document that you can just add text, add menus, etc. Here you can add like choose sections about theme, and they come out of the box with cooked capabilities. And I guess the main difference of what these platforms offer today with the, I'd say, advancement of the software development is out of the box integration with some kind of functionalities that were not common before. Like, for example, immediate payment systems, immediate, even I would say, even integration with mailing systems and stuff like that. So this is really, um, really like, as it said on the presentation, you can probably do a semi-complicated, not very modular SaaS product, pretty decent, yeah. So that's, as I said, like we're not going to deep dive into the platform extensively. Um, but I would like to maybe even talk a bit more about AI-powered development as a form of no code and also code websites or web application development. So I think this is a bit more interesting subject. All of the no-code platforms have this already integrated AI assistants, like when we like the one that we just saw, Wix has this. Addy, yeah, we have the Adobe Sensei that's used in Adobe platforms, no-code platforms, and the idea is that this is taking the whole game even a step further. So you can basically communicate to this AI assistance as you were to do with the software engineer and tell him, please add this section here, please remove this section here, or please integrate this. And this really, really works to a specific extent. When we talk about AI assistants in coded platform, we have something that is similar to like that is taking the game to a bit new level. I would say take the GitHub Copilot as an example here. it's a really nice integration that uses AI to help you develop, restructure, like write more efficient code, even suggests fixes on specific errors that you might get. And I'd have to say, like it's quite useful. But what's a bit more interesting, and I have here as the first dot, are the chatbots. These are also quite good in terms of doing, so to say, semi-complicated tasks, like for example, ChatGPT or the AI coding assistant Devin, which I would like to show like separately. Um, I think, let me switch back again to the other screen. Okay. So we all know ChatGPT or a form of it, and what's really interesting is that it works in a way like you would expect the Wix ADI to work, but it has a bit less limited capabilities because it usually doesn't deal with media and stuff. But for simple, very simple tasks, like you can even ask him, "Hey, can you please create me a simple website for digital marketing agency?" And it would actually start to code, and you can iterate from there, like asking to add styles, asking to add functionality. But it's in this sense, chatbots are fairly limited to how far they can take the integrations. Like it's usually a simple HTML, CSS, JavaScript website. They can even produce some kind of um, like deliverable to you that you can potentially take it and work on it. I'm not sure why uh, it's not. Maybe the session expired. Let me just try to refresh it. I will give it a bit and then come back to it. And the last, I would like to briefly mention also AI teammates, AI collaborative teammates like Devin. I don't know if you've heard of such solutions. Like this is the one that I think was presented about a year ago, and at that point in time, it was kind of a interesting new team that was not that was kind of like cutting edge at the market. So basically, what you do is give this AI teammate access to Slack, access to GitHub, and it acts as literally your software development teammate, like an employee. So you can delegate tasks, and this can do like far more complicated tasks than the usual chatbot. Which means it can do even deployment tasks. It can do complicated integration of all parts of the infrastructure, like front end, back end, even like integrating databases and stuff like that. So I think this is kind of like really taking, like, it's not ideal yet, but I think it's taking the game to a new level. Like, I don't know why ChatGPT doesn't respond now. But the idea was that you could start typing a simple HTML code that you'll be able to see here. But I think it's not really that big of a deal breaker. Um, and last but not least, uh, which one to choose? Sorry, which one to choose? So based on all that we saw here, I think the choice boils down to uh, the the requirement and the budget you have. If you have something that is simple, follows specific template, you're working with a limited budget, and you do not need high level of customization. I guess you can say you can pass a lot better with using some of the no-code websites without even having some skilled or technical knowledge and do a pretty decent job. And if your goal is to have a middle to semi-complicated approach, a solution, um, and like it feels like you would need a higher level of customization that you would not get from these no-code platforms, then it just makes sense to stick to the traditional software development, choose the right technology stack for you, and continue down that path. Hybrid approaches are also interesting. We have such solutions that you can have specific no-code platforms that produce a level up to a certain point, solution up to a certain point, and then you just on top of that you add coding expertise and develop this further to a stage where you need to get. So this was like kind of short and sweet. What to do, what are the pros and cons on code versus no code websites, and what to choose. And I guess we can open up a debate if someone has any questions or something to share from personal experience. Yeah, Ivan, I don't know if you raised the hand, feel free to speak up.
Okay, cool. So I was curious, when you integrate Devin, right? They get access to your GitHub, they get access to your Slack, so they have pretty much the context that any dev on your team would have. But what I found is that AI is usually a little bit less intelligent than human team members, and maybe even more dangerously, uh, they are overconfident.
Mhm.
So if I would be on your team with, I used to be a decent web developer, but I'm not anymore. So I'd be very self-conscious and be very wary of wasting your time or sabotaging your work. And this AI assistant, I expect, would not be. So have you seen situations where using an AI assistant was actually uh, costing more than it was giving you gains?
Can you repeat the last thing again? Sorry, you broke.
So have you seen in one of your projects or teams a situation where the AI assistant actually slowed the team down?
Uh, um, I think that's quite some things to unwrap here. First, uh, I guess that can happen. I haven't seen it personally, but I also haven't worked on a project where AI assistants have been that extensively used. Like this is the first time I opened Devin, and I even wanted to try a specific integration for the demo, but it was like a subscription-based model that was like $500 per small team, which didn't
Okay,
feel
I see.
like case scenario for like a showcase. But I think AI is as good as you're good in defining the tasks you want him to do. So if you're efficient in knowing what you need and really, really define the parameters of what you need him to do good, um, meaning that it can understand as an artificial thing, it can understand what you want him to do, and it's like its algorithm is decent enough, I think it can be useful. But on the other hand, if you ask me, I would be for this semi-hybrid approach, like not fully automate everything, be there, have control over what's happening. But also, I think it's important that you start using AI in your everyday work, regardless if we're talking about code development and everything. Because I think when people are talking about whether AI is going to take your job, no, I don't think it's going to take your job. But people who start using AI to their benefits are going to take your job because they're going to be far more efficient than you and far more productive than you. So it's this area that still evolves, still develops. I think we have a lot to unpack, but I guess my answer to your question is it can slow you down as much as you let him to,
Thank
if I can
you.
say
I,
that.
I love that phrasing, by the way. Thanks.
Yeah. Someone else?
So one question I have actually is about any other platforms other than Wix which provide overwhelming response in terms of the no code websites, because I think Wix, most of the people are aware based on your experience. If you have seen other platforms in the no code world which may be performing or which are less known and have been performing pretty well. So maybe want to know as well those things.
Uh, what I could find, like as I said, like I saw that a likes here, a web bubble, and also I see actually Dreamweaver as well being alive and still functioning. So I have uh, no experience. I haven't used any of this no code platform since I don't know, probably in the last 10 years or even more. Like as I said, I remember the time when Dreamweaver was popular, and I did use it at that point in time very little for some small gigs and projects, but um, I'm sure there are a lot of alternatives. It's just to me personally, Wix has been very aggressive in how they are like working on their growth. Like I see them everywhere. Like they're like ads of Wix. I see them everywhere. And when I started working on the presentation, even without doing the research, like I knew that Wix was going to be one of the platforms that I have to that I can show for no code development, which means that they're doing a good job. Something that doesn't apply to me as a software developer. I know about them and know what they do. So yeah,
Great. Thank you.
I would be curious to ask if someone from here, because I'm more on the other side of the aisle, like use more code platforms. Does someone here like has extensive knowledge or maybe even does a living by using no code platforms and develops websites and web applications with them? Maybe someone can share experience more on that end. Probably not so.
Oh,
Okay, cool.
okay, so if there are no more questions, I think that's it for this uh, webinar. Thank you so much, Jenny, for this presentation.
Sure. It was a pleasure and hope to see you again in some other topic.
Thank you.